Hello, hello. It's Elaine Lindsay of Cruel Social Media. I'm your host for BBPTVShow, and I'm really excited to be here at this special time today to welcome our incredible guest, Samantha Kelly. Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to have Samantha back. And today, we're actually going to be talking about the Women's Inspire Network. This is an incredible group that Samantha has founded, and the entire premise, I think, is really incredible. Supportive, savvy business women getting together to share their expertise, to handle the good times and the bad, all of those pieces together in a great network that really can help you when you're a small business. So first, I'm going to give you a little bit about Samantha because it's quite a nice story. She's a leading social media strategist. She's a speaker and a trainer, and she owns and operates Tweeting Goddess, which is in fact her handle on Twitter. Now, she has an incredible supportive team, and she is constantly delivering really effective social media strategies to businesses and other entrepreneurs. She uses it in a great way to inspire online communities. I think, we all thrive when we work within our tribe. One other thing that we want to talk about, she's a dynamic and engaging speaker and trainer, as I said, and she's delivered training courses to Hewlett-Packard, HSE, and the Irish League of Credit Unions. She's also the founder of the Social Media Summit in Ireland, and this is a conference that has brought together some really leading lights in social media, such as, I believe, Ted Rubin was one of her first speakers. And this is something that you are now, I believe, doing every year. We'll get into that, but one last thing I'd like to say, which is really exciting because voting ends tomorrow, but Samantha has been nominated for yet another award. Tell us about the award for starters.
Well, hello everybody. Thanks for the lovely intro. Yeah, it's the Social Media Award. It's with the Irish Internet Association. So it's the Net Visionary Award. Sounds very posh. Can you hear feedback there? Am I okay? Do you want me to put my headphones on?
No, you're good. You're good.
But yeah, it's just it's nice to be nominated, and there's a few good people in there. So I hate asking for votes, I really do, but you have to ask for votes because it's a public vote and judges. So yeah, so it'd be nice to win it.
Absolutely. So everybody that can, check it out on Facebook in the Women's Inspire Network, and also on Twitter. We'll make sure that the link is there available for you to go and vote. I've done my voting. I've been good.
Thank you very much. But this is the thing. I mean, if you can't get votes on social media, then you shouldn't be up for the award in the first place, I suppose.
Absolutely. That was very well said. That is, after all, the whole point, right?
Yeah.
So I had said in one of the videos I did to promote the show today, I had said that we originally met a few years ago, actually, on Blab, which is no longer around, sadly. It was a very cute little program. And it was, I think, a little early on in your career. There was a young gentleman, I don't remember from where, but he asked you for an interview, and you were just so genuine and so kind. That's really what caused me to reach out at that point, because I thought, wow, here's someone who really understands the give and take of the digital sphere.
Isn't that funny? Now I can't even remember who that was, but yeah, that's gas. Because yeah, it is important, because it doesn't matter who asks me. If I can do it and I have the time, I will do it. Because what you're doing by letting them interview you is that you're actually helping them to get more traffic. You're helping them to get their name in front of my followers as well and stuff. And it works both ways, I mean, like they often they share my content, so why can't I share their content? So you'd see a lot of people retweeting my tweets or my blog posts, and usually if someone does that, I do try and go back and go through their tweets and see, is there anything that I could retweet that my followers would like? And then they go, oh, she retweeted me as well. So it's nice.
It is, and it's I think for you, like for myself, it's kind of organic. We understood that from the get-go. I think you, as well as I, were gifted with the gab and are really good at talking to people, bringing people together. And I think social media is a perfect place.
It's perfect. Yeah, exactly. And that's really what social media is about. It's about building relationships, and particularly on Twitter, it's about building relationships and nurturing those relationships. And that's where, you know, Twitter lists can come in really handy. You can find your community into different lists. Like I have one that's got cool people on it. So these people are people that I want to watch and that I'm very interested in. Like I have a list of inspiring people, all that kind of stuff. And you might have a list of locksmiths, because sometimes people ask me for a locksmith. Do I know a locksmith? And then I can't remember what the Twitter handle is. So I just made a list of different things like that as well. So, you know, it's all about keeping in touch with these people that do catch your interest, because sometimes you can forget the Twitter handle, sometimes you can forget what their name was, and you know, we're busy people, and it's nice to just keep in touch with people, because there's a lot of lonely people out there too, and a lot of people on social media, and Twitter in particular. I find, you know, they could be isolated, working from home, small business owners. And normally actually at this time in Ireland is a great time, between 9 and 11 p.m. in Ireland. I don't know if it's the same in Canada, but at that time, that's when a lot of small business owners, the kids have gone to bed, they're just getting a chance to check their emails or maybe plan for the next day. And a lot of us actually switch off while the kids are up, and then when the kids are in bed, we go back to work for another couple of hours. And I found that that's very common. So it's a really good time to talk to people this time. You know?
Yeah, and I thought that was really interesting, because that you had talked about that when we first met, and I thought, oh wow, you know, that makes perfect sense for solopreneurs and small business. You do have to wear all those hats. You wear the mom hat, you wear the wife hat, you know, the partner hat, the dog walker hat. There's a lot of hats that one has to wear. And it can be horrifically lonely, which brings us to Women's Inspire Network. So what was the impetus behind founding the network, and where do you plan to take it?
Well, I founded Irish Biz Party first, which was one night I was a bit lonely and I was feeling frustrated with the fact that there was all this red tape. And like my business, when I started, I was on social welfare, and I found it really difficult to go from social welfare, having no money, to having a business. And I found, you know, like that you did need a little bit of money. And if you didn't have money, it wasn't really fair. So if you had a great business idea, you know,
yeah,
it didn't seem fair to me that you couldn't progress because of a lack of funding. So I just thought, I can't be the only one experiencing this, things like that. And I said, right, maybe we need to help each other here. So I put out a tweet and started Irish Biz Party, which became one of the most popular hashtags on Twitter every Wednesday night. And so that was male and female. But then I noticed that the people who were coming to the events, and that were buying tickets for the events, and that were reaching out to me, and that were coming up to me at the end, anytime I did a talk, it was women that were coming up to me. It was women, and there were women my age, women who could identify with me, and that were getting inspired, and that were actually writing me letters saying, thank you, you did this, or you said this, and it helped me to do this. And I was going, my gosh, you know, and I was amazed that I was having that effect on people. And you know, I realized, hang on, maybe I do need to just concentrate on this audience that really do get me and really do understand what I'm trying to do. And then I also realized that a lot of them needed help, that they probably couldn't afford or couldn't take the time out to go to a workshop, get a babysitter, go to a workshop for the day, petrol, you know, gas, whatever, you know, going to the city, maybe having to stay overnight, and then you're staying overnight on your own, and you're a woman on your own, and all of those things. And I said, you know what, if we could just do all of this online and just connect with each other, have online coffee mornings where we could meet every week and catch up and brainstorm and like create a community of like-minded women who really do want to see you succeed, who really do get what you're doing, who really do genuinely want to be part of this community, well then surely that would work. So it is working. So actually,
Yeah.
we started about 2 years ago on Twitter. It was a hashtag Women's Inspire, and then it just grew, and then we have a Facebook group with 7,000 members now, and they're from all over the world. And so then I said, you know what, I was actually putting a lot of work in, and it was doing it all for free. And I said, you know what, actually I was advised as well, you know, you can't keep doing everything for free. So I said, okay, what about if I add more value? And so that's when the online webinars came in. If I added online coffee mornings, if I added value like mentoring. So I created a panel of mentors from the people I knew had great value to add. I created a whole, got the website done. Esther did the website, and I just surrounded myself with good teams. So I have Marie, I have Esther, I have Jill, I have Ben, and I just have a really good team. So I just said, right, I'm going to go for this. And then Helena is the community manager. That's a new title she has now, because she just knows everybody in the network because she's been in it so long. So she's the community manager because she just knows if someone asks, where can I get a lovely gift for a baby? Where can I get a course on Twitter or whatever it is? She knows who these people are. She knows who does websites. She knows who does every single thing in the network. So she can connect you with the right people. And that's really what it's about. It's about referring business to each other as well. You know, we're not just here just to sit and chat and have coffee. We want to get business as well. And we all want to succeed. And that's what it's all about. So I have a great lady, Helena, and she started off, she was a lone parent with 4 teenagers, and she ended up speaking at my last event. So what I do now is, you know, it's obviously you can't beat face to face. So what I do is I do 2 events per year, and they work really well. Like we have 250 like-minded people in one room. It's just magical. And Helena got up on the stage, and she'd never been on the stage in her life. And that's another thing I love about it. I love to give people a chance that might never ever get that chance, you know. And now she's been asked to speak at something else. Isn't it wonderful?
Oh, that's fabulous. Way to go, Helena.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's excellent. Excellent. And I hope, and I know that people are getting the concept here. Okay, Samantha is infusing the Women's Inspire network with her verve and her authenticity, because there really are lots of women out there that not only are we, you know, entrepreneurs and small business. Even if you have a team, you know, a team of 3 or 4, you know, Samantha, you've got 5. We have 3 here. Even with a team, you sometimes just need to bounce something off somebody else. When you're a solopreneur, as I'm calling them, fempreneurs, sometimes you just want someone to be a sounding board, because when you play things over in your head, you don't always think, oh, you know, you talk yourself out of ideas, or you talk yourself out of putting out your product or doing that webinar, whatever it may be. If you leave it to yourself, you're going to talk yourself out of it. And having other women all over. And one thing about the concept of having these other women all over, as you build in all these other countries, you're going to be able to stretch that network into doing like events in the other countries, and being able to share and bring people from the network in other places as well. You know, by the time you're around the whole globe, you'll have Australia and New Zealand and Germany and Japan and everywhere. I think it's going to be quite something.
Yeah, it could be. It has the potential to be. And then with online, you see as well, we can do the events online, we can connect online, but you know, there is no reason why. You know, I was thinking of a concept where 10 people from a network in America come over to our event, and then we send 10 people
to their event. Yeah.
Like there's loads of things like that. It's just all in my head at the moment, but it's starting to go out and flow. And I mean, look, already, you know, I'm talking to people who will be like Fiona Catchpool. You know, I met her at a different event, and she's actually coming from Marbella in Spain to speak at my event. And that's building a relationship, from her getting involved in the network and adding value herself. She started to, when people ask a question about Facebook, she jumps in and she says, well, this is what you do. And I saw what she was doing and I said, she's actually being really helpful and she's adding a lot of value. So I said, right, maybe we need to get Fiona over here because she's been making so many connections. I'm sure they'd love to meet her. So she's going to have a great time, you know, and you never know who else might end up coming over. You know, you just don't know.
It's such a good concept, and right from the get-go, looking at the different variety of people you have, even in your core group, there are so many different types of business. Sometimes people, when you talk about something online, people think, oh, that's, you know, social media, it's information, it's, you know, knowledge that they're passing on. But we're talking about products and people that have, you know, bricks and mortar business, and you know, all of those people can get assistance by being part of a good tribe that is supportive.
Well, we have a lady, Fionnuala, and she has a flower shop, okay, for example. She has a flower, and she joined in your, she was very interested in the one you did, the branding with your images, because she would use social media a lot, but also she wanted to learn that, and also the email marketing webinar we had. I mean, that was brilliant because that's helpful for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But not even that, we had Tara Gillies, who does a lot of PR. I mean, she gave so many tips about getting your business noticed and getting a press release out and all of that stuff. And oh my goodness, people were like, oh my gosh, we never thought of that. And then again, Helena, right? She makes these little bling angels. And she asked Tara for the address of this blogger who was getting married, this big blogger, beauty blogger. She sent her the something blue, a blue angel, and that beauty blogger sent it all over to her Instagram followers, and she put a picture up, and oh, she was blown away, and the orders just rolled in for Helena. I mean, this is just the power of asking somebody for help. She asked Tara, did she have her address? She asked Tara, you know, and Tara helped her, you know, and there was no money exchanged hands. But I know for a fact that if anyone ever asks, does anyone know a PR person, that Tara will be the first person.
Right on. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's another piece of the puzzle for people, because a lot of people struggle with putting together that, well, the online and the offline, how do you meld that? Like, should it come together? And I really believe it should, and it does. And having a good, committed tribe who really loves to share with each other can be an awful lot of fun. As a matter of fact, we happened to see some wonderful pictures of Helena's birthday party.
Yeah, and you weren't even in Ireland.
I wasn't in Ireland. No, I was way over here, but got to share in the fun by seeing the pictures.
Yeah.
Which is really something, because, you know, like Moni Smith, who's in Germany, as I'm waving away, and different people that you've brought on, you know, as the network grows, you're going to have different areas where you have, you know, groups and groups of people that will be able to share in all their events and all their wins as well with the rest of the ladies in the group.
Yeah, and it gives hope to each other as well when you see things like that happen. You know, and that's important, because sometimes there are days, I don't know about you, but there are days where I go, what am I doing? Why don't I just get a job? You know, and you know, and you're like, oh, I'm mad, my family were right, I'm mad. But you know what? Then you talk to another female entrepreneur and they go, hang on, did you try this?
Yeah.
Or why are you feeling like that? Do you not realize what you've achieved? Look at what you've achieved and look at what you're doing. And then it kind of makes it clearer for you. And you go, do you know what? Actually, you're right. Look how far I've come since last year. And it just helps you to look at, you know.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's also good for everyone's kids to see the, you know, the work that's being put in, the commitment that's being put in. And for a lot of people, having kids is really helpful for the tech part.
Yeah.
For people that
sorry, my daughter is I can hear an echo coming back. Sorry. My daughter's hearing impaired with language today, and so her language is not great. The other day, she was fixing a little toy for a younger child, and I said, "What do you do?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm just troubleshooting."
Like, lovely, lovely.
So totally different.
Yeah. And how cool is that to be able to, you know, she's taking your cue in helping others, which I think is just marvelous.
It is beautiful. It is lovely to see the domino effect. And even my own 18-year-old, she just walked straight into a job after she left school. You know, she has that work ethic. You know, she knows that she can't get anything unless she works hard. You know, but I got that from my father.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And speaking of your dad, I know that a lot of people in Ireland know, but Samantha was on Dragon's Den, which I know in the States is called Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Here in Canada, it's also Dragon's Den. Tell us a little bit about that, because that predates all of this.
Yeah, that was when I had my first business. I don't know why I can hear back coming back. Sorry.
Yeah, you might want to try your earplugs now, because yeah, all of a sudden we have a bit of a echo. Sorry, folks.
Sorry, folks. It's like I'm hearing myself. Hang on. Hope this works now. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah, Dragon's Den. Myself and my dad used to watch Dragon's Den because he used to say to me, "Oh, do you know what, Sam? If we could just think of one little thing that nobody else has thought of, we'd be millionaires," you know. And I'd be like trying to think of a simple thing like that would make us millionaires. And he and I used to watch that together. And then when he passed away, I was going on the show with my first business, because I was a lone parent. I started a business. I had no money, so I needed investment to make it profitable, to make the gift box cost cheaper. And when I was on my way up to the stage, up the steps, I was getting my makeup done, and the makeup girl's light was there. It's a really big bright light, and it was January, and a butterfly landed, a painted lady landed on the light. And she was like, "Oh my goodness, why is there a butterfly here in January?" And I said, "Well, that's my dad, you know, messing." I was joking, like. But then, of course, he was in my head when I went up to the Dragon's Den. And then when I was pitching, Nora Casey, one of the dragons, said, "You've had a tough year, haven't you?" And I was like, and I just burst into tears. So I'm the girl that cried on Dragon's Den. So
you're not alone.
I know, but you know what it did? Because I had about 5,000 followers on Twitter at that stage, it didn't do me any harm at all, because loads of people could see the human side and could identify with that, you know, that drive to succeed. And then when you have that moment where you go, "Oh my goodness," and you just stop and you burst into tears. I mean, everyone can identify with that. And it's just the human side of things, because look, every avatar, every Twitter profile has a human behind it. So, you know, I try to be kind to everyone, and I never ignore anyone. You know, I go and have a look at their profile, and even if they've only got 20 followers, you just don't know who that person is. You don't know their story. You don't know. I remember doing a Skype call with a guy from Twitter about the social media summit there last year. And I remember doing the call, and he was saying, "Oh yeah, sure, my dad follows you on Twitter. He loves you." And I was like, "Really? Your dad?" I was like, "Who's your dad?" And I just looked up his dad, and it was a guy with like 300 followers, lived in Cork, you know, had followed. There was nothing really I had in common with him, but I was following him. So we must have engaged at some stage for me to follow him. And I was like, "That's interesting." And then I said, "Oh my gosh, you really don't know who is following you and who's watching you." Like, I didn't know his son worked in Twitter, you know, so you just do not know. Like, he'd be saying to him, you know, "Oh, you should see what Tweeting Goddess is doing now," and all this. I'm like, "Oh my God, I have this like army of marketeers, and I don't even know, like, you know, I have 40,000 followers, so I can't know everybody, but I do know a lot of them." And I have definitely, if I'm at an event and I see one of my followers says, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be there too," I always make it my business to grab them, get a selfie, have a cup of tea or something. You know, definitely, that's really important, you know.
Absolutely. And, write that down, because that is so important.
Yeah.
When people acknowledge
Yeah.
that, they follow you, they've seen you, you've helped them in some way, it's really important that you give that acknowledgement back. And sometimes it doesn't happen. And sometimes it's not because the person doesn't want to, it's that they don't realize how important that is.
Yeah. Well, I know someone who does know how important that is, and that is Ted Rubin, because I remember Ted Rubin, when he came over, like, he gave everybody, and Brian Fanzo, they gave everybody their time. They did selfies galore. They must have been exhausted, but they put everything aside. There was no egos. They just went, and they were very happy to take pictures, and that meant a lot to the people who went, and it meant a hell of a lot to them. And Mary Smith was the same. And this is really important for people. It's like when you're following someone virtually and then you meet them in real life, like, it's like when I met Gary Vaynerchuk, I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then got a selfie with him. And then my daughter actually started reading Gary Vaynerchuk's book, and I was like, oh yeah. I said, sure, I met him. She went, what? I was like, well, I spoke on the stage, the same event as he did. What? I was like, here, and I showed her the picture, and she was like, oh my god, so all of a sudden I was cool. I
was gonna say, now you have more cred there, Mom.
Yeah. But you see, this is it. It's like, to me, it was a big deal, and it made me feel special. And look, it even helped with that relationship.
Absolutely. And I have to say, Brian Franzo's great, but I absolutely adore Ted Rubin. He and I've, years ago, I followed him long before we got to know each other. He is just an incredible human being, and so giving, and so kind, and just, to me, quite brilliant. He really is quite brilliant. And that brings me to something that I think is interesting, and something that I wanted to bring up about, as much as it's a women's group, women entrepreneurs, okay, having men come and speak or do webinars or get involved in the group, in the training pieces, or sharing their wisdom, people like Ted and Brian and Gary, for that matter, it's important to understand, as a woman, like, take the help. If they have something that they can offer us, then hey, let's go for it. I had heard in different women's groups, like, over the past few years, they tend to exclude men quite often. And it's not about having men within the group per se. If it's just a women's group, then that's absolutely fine. But if you're going to have trainings, if you're going to have people speak or be inspirational, they can be men as well, and it can actually be really beneficial.
I find that as well. And there was something about that this week, and I actually did a video saying, look, this is why we can't give out about diversity if we don't include men as well. We can't be giving out about the panel, the panel only has all men, and then do the same at our own events. I mean, look, I have a lot of men on the event lineup as well, and because they're adding different types of value. Because you know what? I'm not great. I think women in general, I think some of us actually are not great at asking for the money, and I know that some men are really good at doing this. And so it wouldn't be any harm for us to get a little bit of those tips to teach us how to do those things that the men are actually better at, probably. But that's just from my own experience. That doesn't mean, I know there's lots of good women out there that would know how to ask for the money, but that's something that a lot of us have to learn, including myself. And and there are certain things that women are much better at, and certain things that men are better at. But in general, it's about entrepreneurship. It's not about male or female. It's about people helping each other. And if they happen to be male, that's fine. You know what I mean? If they want to be part of the network. I mean, there was a gentleman came to the one last year, and he'd never been to a Women's Inspire event. And he said it was the best event he'd ever been at. And he had never been to a Women's Inspire event. And he said, thank you so much. And the reason I invited him was because I'd met him before, and he was in he was in life assurance or something, and we hadn't got anybody there.
Yeah.
that did life insurance. And I said, look, you might as well come along because there's nobody else in the room going to be selling life insurance. So you might as well be there. And so that's why. And, you know, he did really well. He enjoyed it. He made some great connections. And, you know, some people just, you know, they have things that aren't on offer there at the time. So that's all it is, really, you know.
And you know, as we become more inclusive, gender's becoming very fluid. So opening up to whatever gender is present. If someone has value to add, it's kind of irrelevant, you know, whether they're male or female or in between. It really doesn't matter. If they have, you know, real great information and they're willing to share it, then be open to it. I mean, that's important.
Yeah. I mean, I've learned so much from men as well, you know, and, you know, I think actually 2 of my mentors are men. You know, one is a female and 2 are men. And that's just the way it is at the moment, because they've always been the ones that believed in me. They've always been the ones when nobody else believed in me that they believed in me, and they've championed me. And they were like cheerleaders in the background all that time. And, you know, and Gwen is great. Gwen's actually part of the network. Actually, you 2 should meet as well. I mean, she's lovely and she helps me a lot. And she really helps me to kind of focus, you know, and I need someone like that. Look, we're not perfect at everything. That's another reason I started Women's Inspire Network, because look, I didn't know anything about the graphics, the images thing that you did the other day. I hadn't a clue about that. I had no idea. And I know from talking to women, there's lots of things that some of us are brilliant at and some of us are terrible at. Like one lady, she's terrible at social media. She hasn't a notion about it and has no interest in it either. But I know she'd do so well in it. So I'm gently coaxing her into the world of Twitter and all that, you know. And I've seen so many women that have actually been afraid of it, and now they love it, and now they're doing really well from it, and the stories that are happening as a result of it. And so they're the best advertisement for me. Like, it's simple it's actually doing my marketing for me by telling those stories. And, you know, I'm not great at other things like spreadsheets. Don't give me an Excel spreadsheet, please, you know. Things like that I'm not great at, whereas people on my team are. So Marie and Esther and Jill, I have to surround myself with people who are better at things that I'm not so good at, you know.
And that is the best thing to do, because there's so many things I'm not good at. I have no patience. I'm not good at reading the fine print. That's someone else can do that. I really, not my thing. People always say, but don't you teach people? Oh, I have patience for that, but not for the other stuff. And like you, I mentored with Mari Smith for more than 3 years. We go back to 2010. And I have male mentors, sort of like you, cheerleaders. Shout out to Mark Babbitt and Ted Coyne, who are just, you know, absolute gifts. Mark Babbitt's the brother I never had. He's a wonderful gentleman that I met when him and I were both speaking at Google in Boston. And Sean Murphy is another one that together, they're all really kind, considerate people that are out to help other people. And I think that's the key, is people that are there to help others, to make sure that they're always have a hand out to help someone else up, not just a hand out.
Oh, yeah. And you do learn. I mean, look, we have so many women in the network doing all kinds of different things that really are supportive. And actually, even when I started the Women's Inspire Network, the Facebook group, I wouldn't let anyone in that was a bitch. Like, I just didn't, because I could, because it was my group, you know. But, you know, I just don't have tolerance for it. I mean, there's no point. What is the point? Look, there's loads of business. There's plenty of business for everything, especially with online now. Look, there's so many customers out there. You know, just be the best. And don't worry about people copying your ideas or anything like that, because they don't have your unique selling point, which is you. So I just carry on, be the best. Don't bitch about others. You know, stay away from those people, because honestly, there are a lot of good people. And I think in general, in the world in general, and on Twitter and social media in general, I'd say 95% of people are good. 5%
absolutely.
are awful, horrible people. But that 5% is really small. Most
And
people are really good, you know?
absolutely. And from my perspective, just from, I have empathy for a lot of the people that aren't good, because they're in fear and they're in pain.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what often causes people to lash out.
Yeah.
And if you take that into account, don't let yourself be consumed by what other people do. There's so much
Yeah.
abundance. And like you said, what is it, Dr. Seuss? There's nobody as you. No one can
Yeah.
do you quite as well as you can do you, which is absolutely true. And there's lots
Yeah.
of us who do the same things, but we do them slightly differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, look, the women in the group, there's all different characters there. There's different people like there's singers in the group even. We have singers, we have fertility experts, we have, we'll have jewelry makers, we have music teachers, we have all kinds of people, marketers, every type.
People, there's a bunch of us. Yep.
Web designers, there's so many people in the network doing different things. So you're bound to find something that you're going to learn. Excuse me, I have to sneeze. Would you believe that?
Oh,
no, it's gone now. It's gone now. It's gone now.
Because you said it.
Yeah. But, you know, and we can all learn from each other. And the reason also I made it so affordable as well is because I joined lots of networks myself and I didn't get value. And I felt, do you know what, if I make it small and get the volume instead and just have an easily affordable fee, it's not going to be a big hula baloo at the end of the year when it comes to budgets. You know, I just thought, like, I remember paying for a network and I got an email at the end of the month saying about an event happening. And I'm like, they haven't even engaged me on Twitter all week. They haven't even retweeted me or nothing, you know, whereas if you tag Women's Inspire anytime on Twitter, we retweet you, you know. And it's all about the weekly hashtag Twitter chat as well. If you want, you know, if you want to be part of that, I mean, people are getting sales, and this is what it comes down to at the end of the day. It's all lovely to have support and all, but, you know, we're trying to make a living here. We're trying to put our kids through college or whatever it is. We're trying to just be a success and do what we love doing. So at the end of the day, it's about sales, and that is what's happening. People are getting sales and people are improving their business, improving their strategies because they're learning. But they wouldn't have learned any of this unless they had learned what we put out. And I know what people need to learn. We need to learn about email marketing. We need to learn about time management. We need to learn about asking for the price. Instagram, there's so many things we have to learn. And it's not just social media stuff, it's lots of other things as well. And, you know, it's all about what I'm doing is I'm reaching out to my network that I know really rock at certain things. And that's how I reached out to you as well, you know, because I know these people are good at what they do, and getting them to teach the network their skills. Like we had Amanda talking about blogging there last week, and she was awesome. She gave so many tips because we have a blog on the Women's Inspire site, and if you remember, you can just upload a blog anytime you want. And you know, it's just, I just know what's needed because of my own experience. And when you have those experiences yourself, then you know what's needed and you know what people need, and you know, also you understand, you have empathy for people that maybe might be struggling, and you know that, you know what, sometimes it's okay to just give them a little handout and a little dig out, whether that's setting up their Twitter account for them or doing something to help them, you know. And that's what I love to do, and it makes me feel good when I do that. So it's actually quite selfish.
Well, you know what they say, success breeds success. And if you surround yourself with positive, successful people, guess what? That you're going to follow suit. You know, they say you are the sum of the 5 people that you chum around with the most. So when you develop a network such as this and you fill it with positive, successful people, you can't help but be positive and successful yourself when you join. Boy, don't I sound mad? It's my little ad here. One thing we will be sure and do is put up the link so that you can, in fact, join Women's Inspire Network when we finish the show today. And I wanted to maybe have you leave with, how's about your vision for where you see the network in 3 years?
Well, I see it as a truly global network, and possibly doing an event in London, in Canada, in America. Why not? You know, the Women's Inspire Network name, by the way, came from a lot of brainstorming. But I just thought, I went looking for Women Inspire or something, and that was gone. And then Women's Inspire Network, it's WIN, win, you know, and that's really why I like that one. And I also think it's important that we inspire each other. So that's where the Inspire came from. But, you know, Women's Inspire Network can be global, because I know there are people just like me sitting at home working. I know they're there. We did a little fun thing. I don't know if you saw it on Twitter, building my empire from home hashtag. So I just started it one day, and people started taking pictures from all over the world at their desks, and it was just so lovely. And people that I'd never engaged with before even, and it was just really nice. So I know they're out there. I know there's people just like me and you sitting there. So my target obviously would be to have, like, you know, loads of members, and that they're getting value though, and that's the important thing. And I'd like to maybe not be managing Twitter accounts so much, and maybe focus totally putting my energy into the Women's Inspire Network, so that we actually can give more value again, you know, because the more value, the more time I can put into it, the more experts I can get in, the more proper interviews I can do, and webinars and online courses. I know Marie's offering a free Canva course at the moment, because she wants people to try it out. So this is a great network to test things as well, you know, and get advice. And so it's really lovely. It's magical. Yeah. So that's the aim, is that we could do not only our 2 events every year in Ireland, but maybe, you know, and maybe bring more people to Ireland. But, you know, obviously it'd be nice to do one in London or the UK or something, and then somewhere else, you know, there's no reason why.
We could do Washington. We could do
that would be lovely. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Absolutely. If you're gonna think big, why not?
Yeah. Gary Vaynerchuk will be proud.
Absolutely. Like, go for it. Absolutely. So I'm gonna wrap up now. It's getting later for you. And I just wanted to say to everyone who's out there, make sure that you have support, you have mentors, you have some network that's going to help you work together. And if you really want the best one, Women's Inspire Network should be for you. We really look forward to having more members that join us in all different countries, so that we can take this on the road.
We could.
Oh, I like that.
Elaine's road trip.
Yeah, the big road trip around the whole wide world. So Samantha Kelly is the founder. This has been a lovely discussion about the Women's Inspire Network. And we look forward to seeing you, hearing you, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever you may be. One hashtag is hashtag capital W, capital I, capital N. And also hashtag Women's, and that's plural, Women's with an S, Inspire Network. And we'll make sure that that's on the page with this show for anyone who wants to watch the replay.
And yeah, it's hashtag Women's Inspire, and the hashtag for the Dublin event on the 10th of October is hashtag Win17Dublin. So if you can't make the event, keep an eye on the hashtag on the 10th of October and have a look and see what's going on.
Absolutely. So put that date on your calendar as well, October the 10th.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
very much for having me.
It's been awesome having you. Make it a great day, everybody. I'm Elaine Lindsay with True Social Media, the host of Business Banter Plus TV show. I'll see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Are you our next guest? Drop us a line at bbp@tv.truesocial.com.